In the headlines to the CBC Newsnight, the BDF to get aircraft, an appeal to Barbadian motorists to exercise common sense on the roads.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC Newsnight, starting now.
Good evening and welcome to the CBC Newsnight. I'm Wendy Burke. The government of Barbados is currently negotiating the recapitalization of the Barbados Defence Force fleet and acquiring air assets. This announcement from Chief of Staff of the Barbados Defence Force, Brigadier Carlos Lovell. He was speaking at the passing out parade of soldier recruits at the Paragon base. Our reporter Akeem Clinkett tells us more.
Of the 101 recruits entering the Barbados Defence Force gates at St. Anne's Fort to become soldiers, 69 were successful and stood tall during this parade at the Paragon base. The recruits went through a series of tasks, learning to become members of the Defence Force. In his feature address, BDF Chief of Staff Brigadier Carlos Lovell stated that a lot of responsibility will be placed on their shoulders. He says that the government is currently negotiating for a recapitalization of the BDF fleet and acquiring new air assets, which is good news for the force. He encouraged the recruits to be ready for work.
The government of Barbados is currently negotiating the recapitalization of the BDF's vessel and vehicle fleet in order to better serve the needs of our country. This is coupled with the pending acquisition of new air assets to ensure that the BDF creates a presence in the air domain and improves our maritime domain awareness. Some of you may also be aware that the government has approved the expansion of the force by almost 200 service persons and the construction and commissioning of a new headquarters. While this is good news for the members of the force and for the recruits, I must remind you that to whom much is given, much is required.
Brigadier Lovell said that the BDF is also preparing to be part of a multinational support team in Haiti. He says it is likely that this recruiting class will be among those chosen for that exercise in some way.
The Barbados Defence Force, of which you are now members, has built a solid reputation as a regional force for good and has a stellar track record for the maintenance of national and regional security. Even now, as the force prepares to support the multinational security support mission in Haiti, we are reminded of the important role which the BDF plays in maintaining stability in our region. Should the decision be made to deploy BDF personnel to support this regional effort, I am certain that members of this recruit intake will certainly be called upon to play a direct or supporting role in this conflict.
Brigadier Lovell also urged the recruits to stay away from temptation and make good choices in their professional career.
I encourage you to grasp these opportunities and always give of your best, cognizant that much is expected of you as the newest members of the profession of arms. You must retain or remain focused on the force's mission, reject corruption, turn away from negative influences, and do not succumb to the many temptations which will cross your paths in your professional and your personal lives.
The best recruit for the intake was Najeri Brooms, while Shem Breedy was the runner-up. Akeem Clinkett, CBC News.
As Barbadians go about their busy schedules trying to complete their last-minute shopping for Christmas, a leading insurance executive is appealing for common sense to be exhibited on the busy roadways. In fact, Deputy Chairman of the Board of Directors at Cooperative General Insurance Company Limited, Victor Hutchinson, says increased senseless driving of late is leading to unnecessary fender benders, which have become a financial bugbear for insurance companies. He was speaking at the company's annual Christmas luncheon and awards ceremony at the Accra Beach Hotel and Spa. Ron Brathwaite reports.
Mr. Hutchinson says that Cooperators General, they continue to encourage wider public education for safer defensive driving on the roads. However, he says accidents, which oftentimes can be avoided, present one of the greatest challenges for insurance companies.
Still too many people seem to leave their homes and leave their brains behind. Thus, their good judgment is not present when they climb into their vehicles to go back and forth on the roads of our country. We can only continue such public education efforts and hope that the light of responsibility is illuminated appropriately, leading to the embrace of defensive driving techniques.
Mr. Hutchinson says despite the expenses of the present collision rate, Cooperators General Insurance, through prudent financial management, has been able to make a profit this year. And for this achievement, staff of various departments were recognized for their effort in the success.
We have exceeded the projected gross written premium that was set for the last 3-year period of our current strategic plan. To be precise, that strategic plan mentioned the figure of $30 million as the projected target for gross written premium to be achieved by May 31st, 2025. And in fact, by May 31st of this year, we had attained a figure of $31 million gross written premium.
The occasion was one of celebration for both staff and directors, with Santa Claus also being part of the mix to share in the festivities, which included a steel pan rendition, as well as comedy by Jennifer Walker. However, the occasion was climaxed with a Christmas after party with headliner Lil Rick, who entertained Cooperator's staff with his repertoire of soca hits. Ron Brathwaite, CBC News.
Political commentator Peter Wickham is not surprised by Member of Parliament for St. James North Edmund Hinkson's announcement that he has officially passed the baton to Senator Chad Blackman. He says such shifts are not new, as the Barbados Labour Party has in the past changed candidates midstream, and this particular move was anticipated. However, Mr. Wickham tells CBC News what surprises him is that there is no announcement of a primary, and it is left to be seen whether or not the opposition Democratic Labour Party will field a candidate.
And certainly when Ralph Thorne was replaced, Senator Knight came into being, or came into the attention of the public by way of a primary. There is no suggestion that there will be a primary on this occasion, and I think, if anything, that is a huge surprise. But none of this is surprising to anyone. My sense is that the real political intrigue is whether the opposition will run a candidate, and if so, which candidate the opposition will run.
Mr. Wickham says he has for some time expressed concerns that the opposition seems more interested in attacking the government and less interested in putting its house in order.
It seems as though it will face a fairly imminent political battle, and the question of who will replace or who will run in that St. James North riding is something that we haven't heard a lot about. So I think that for me is the intrigue. We don't know when this will happen. The presumption is that it will happen soon, but we don't know when this will be. So we are interested in knowing the timing, whether it's going to happen immediately or whether it will happen just before the next election, because we still have quite a few years to go before the next election. And then, what would the Democratic Labour Party will do? So that for me is the intrigue, the DLP's position on this.
Mr. Wickham says no political capital should be lost with this move, and it is highly unlikely the seat will be lost to the BLP, and this now presents another test for the DLP. Coming up, an injured girl gets financial assistance from an organization whose tenets are brotherly love, relief, and truth. Some financial assistance tonight for injured 8-year-old Honora Lewis Gill. The Class 3 Lufatorn Primary School student was injured earlier this year in an accident which involved her being struck in the mouth with a cricket bat. Her plight has, however, been heard by the District Grand Lodge of Barbados Scottish Constitution, the District Grand Conclave of the Southern Caribbean of the Order of the Secret Monitor, and the Barbados Consistory of the Scarlet Cord. And before presenting checks to Stacia Davis, mother of the student, District Grand Superintendent of the District Grand Conclave of the Order of the Secret Monitor, Ian Foster, told the ceremony it is part of Freemasons' assistance to society, and they have always helped families and individuals in need.
You know, it's a very endearing case that was brought to our attention, and, you know, we jumped at it. I said, you know, there's nowhere that, you know, we could not help. And I reached out to Brother Mark, and I also reached out to the District Grandmaster Scottish, and they said, yeah, we'll definitely assist. You know, I mean, the floor is still open for other Masonic bodies, you know, to assist, because, you know, they will need some help along the way.
Mother of the student, Stacia Davis, in thanking the 3 Masonic bodies for their assistance, said as her daughter is still growing, the work on her teeth would be an ongoing process until she becomes an adult.
She'll have dentures for the rest of her life, but she has to constantly change them because she's growing, constantly growing. So, yeah, so far she had just some here in Barbados that was there, but those can't even fit her anymore in that short space of time. So that's what's happening. She's getting something called space maintainers now. They're going to keep the space open for her teeth to grow up, because right now they can't grow. There's no space available for the ones that they took out for those to come back up at all. So they have to open the spaces, basically, so that those teeth can start to grow up.
Corporate Barbados has been making donations to the Nightingale Children's Home this Yuletide season. Childcare Officer Sherry Ann Ware is extending gratitude to those businesses and kind-hearted Barbadians who played a part in bringing Christmas cheer to the children at the home. Ms. Ware was speaking during a presentation of gifts, drinks, and other goodies from SMJ Beverages Barbados, Inc.
So far for this Yuletide season, we would have had a number of contributions from various organizations and Corporate Barbados, and I would also like to say another thanks as well to Corporate Barbados for coming out. I know that persons have sacrificed for the entire year just to make sure that some of the children here can have a wonderful Christmas, and we do appreciate everything that they have done, and we look forward to working with them not only at Christmas but also the various holidays.
SMJ Beverages Barbados Inc. General Manager Mia Clark says the company and employees contributed to the donation, which had been a year in planning. She says this is the first presentation the company is making to the home, but it will not be the last.
Today the kids will be having, each one will have a gift. As we know, it's Christmas and every child loves to have something to unravel. And we will also have some little treats, some cake, some sandwiches, and some, of course, wonderful SMJ products, our Cool Kids juices and our newly launched Fruitopia juice.
Giving to the community will always be our mantra and goal. That's the word from President of the Togetherness Social Group, Senator Pat Paris. Speaking at their 10th annual Give Back to the Seniors of the Community, Ms. Paris says while the organization started 15 years ago, they have been focused on helping any and everyone who is in need for 10 years. Senator Paris says that over the years, people have requested help from the group, and they plan to continue being a reliable source moving into the future.
We are a community group, and we look at this as giving back to the community in the farm, and you can see the stuff that is here in a tangible way. We give back to the community because there are people out there who are calling on us for assistance, families. So they think that is it. And one of the reasons why we started this project of distributing hampers 10 years ago, it is because the person, my mother, who this group is named after, distributing hampers in the St. Joseph community was one of her things at Christmas time. So that's how we started with this project.
Meanwhile, Secretary of the group, Rhonda Mears, says while some people may be skeptical to ask for help, the group has special plans for persons who may have concerns.
These people don't have to come to the group in a big way to ask, but seek out a member of the group. And if they ask for help, yes, they will get it. And no one else will know. Sometimes I would say not even the members of the group, the whole body, won't know. They would know that we are doing things for some person, but not who.
Ahead in sports, Windies women crushed by India in their first ODI.
Sports time. Good evening. I'm Damien Best. We start with some cricket news. West Indies women were completely outplayed today as India women won their first ODI by 211 runs in Gujarat, chasing a massive 315 runs for victory. The Windies crumbled to 103 all out in 26.2 overs. Medium pacer Renuka Singh snapped up 5 for 29 to be player of the match, and Afi Fletcher She top scored for the Windies with 24 not out. Earlier sent into bat, India women posted 314 for 9 in their 50. Opener Sumitri Mandana slammed 91, inclusive of 13 fours, while Zeta James impressed with 5 for 45. Well, the second ODI is set for Tuesday at 4 a.m. Barbados time with live coverage on MCTV Sports Max channel. Well, she has done it. Gabriella Leslie won a record 6 straight Barbados Tennis Association top 8 title last night. Leslie defeated Hannah Chambers 6-love, 6-2 in the women's final to secure the crown, while Xavier Lawrence was also impressive in his 6-2, 6-1 win over Stephen Slocum in the men's final. Finals day in the top 8 tennis tournament, National Tennis Center, the venue. Women's matchup featuring Gabriella Leslie and Hannah Chambers closest to the screen. Chambers way off her mark with the backhand return. Only a few glimpses of Chambers' true potential in the first set. Excellent rally with Leslie pulling the strings and Chambers defiant as ever. Deep backhand return. Then Chambers whips the forehand cross court. Leslie can't handle. But the unforced errors would be Chambers' undoing, just self-destructing. Handing Leslie the 4-love lead on a platter. Leslie drawing first blood then with a commanding 6-love scoreline, ending with another break point. Second set we go all or nothing for Chambers. Leslie with the serve. Thunderous forehand from Chambers sets the stage for some adventure. Comes to the service line. Leslie under the pump. Fearless from Chambers at the net. And the acute angle is unplayable. Wonderful tennis from these two. But the 5-time champion Leslie showed real class, sending some gentle reminders to Chambers that this was a mere formality in 2024, giving her the runaround, then the rocket forehand down the line. More of the good stuff from the service. Chambers long with the return. Credit to Chambers, she did manage to win a couple games, but Leslie had too much going for her, looked in really good touch, and she shut down any idea of a comeback with a routine 6-love, 6-2 win to take the women's title for a 6th straight year. Amazing indeed. The men's final next, Stephen Slocum in white versus Xavier Lawrence. Lawrence disgusted with himself on the miscued forehand. In fact, Slocum took 2 games off of Lawrence in the opening set. Lawrence having to work overtime here in the rally, and when he finally managed to transfer the pressure back to his opponent, the unforced error spoiled the effort. We had to get this one in from Slocum as well. The movement showed his hunger to turn the table. Comes to the net, and that forces Lawrence into a freebie. Slocum seals the deal with the open court on offer. Lawrence will settle down, though going back to the fundamentals. Dogged defense and then cashing in on the mistakes of Slocum. Takes the first set at 6-2. The second set was just a blur. Slocum getting his coordinates wrong. Point to Lawrence. And he will move from 4-1 up to the cusp of securing the men's title for 2024. The overhead smash and the mistake from Slocum. The writing is on the wall. Sure enough, Xavier Lawrence would take the men's title in dominant fashion. 6-2, 6-1 over Stephen Slocum. He is your top 8 champion. Well done indeed. And finally, some football news. Mo Salah struck twice to become the 4th highest goal scorer in Liverpool history as they move 4 points clear at the top of the Premier League, courtesy of a thrilling 6-3 victory at Tottenham Hotspur today. Well, I hope the Liverpool fans are satisfied. That is it for sports for tonight. The weather details up next.
Time now to take a look at the weather. A ridge pattern remained dominant across the region today, and apart from a few showers across Dominica and St. Martin, conditions were generally fair. Similar conditions were observed across Trinidad and Tobago. Further south across the Guianas, the combination of the intertropical convergence zone and a favorable upper-level pattern triggered late afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Winds across the region were generally moderate, peaking at 18 knots here in Barbados and in St. Lucia. The Barbados Meteorological Service's sea drones indicated that swells range between 1.5 meters and 2 meters in open waters. We'll take a break here and come right back with the local forecast. A ridge pattern is dominant across Barbados. As a result, there will be a mix of clear skies and clouds with a few brief isolated light showers. Tomorrow, it will be partly sunny with a few brief isolated light showers. A layer of slight dust haze will be visible across the island. There's a moderate easterly breeze from 30 to 35 kilometers per hour. Seas are moderate in open water with swells ranging from 1.5 to 2 meters. And that's our news. Thanks for joining us.